I think. Yes. Excellent. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to now the second webinar of Podhome. As I said last time, we're going to do this every month. And I already see some comments there. Excellent. To show off some of the awesome features that we have and some use cases that actual users use, which we'll also do today, which is very exciting. And today we will talk about automation, so how you can use Podhome to automate your podcast workflow. Now, if you're not familiar with Podhome, let me first show a couple of not so boring slides. They're actually pretty good, I think. Let me grab my screen here. So if you're not familiar with Podhome, here it is. See, I'm still getting used to this broadcasting tool. And yes, the chocolate botanist, you made it to the second one. Thank you for coming. So if you're not familiar with Podhome, Podhome is a podcast hosting platform. So you can use this to get your podcast episodes into the podcast players, and we make that very easy for you. We make it as easy as we can with all sorts of tools baked into one platform. We started in 2023, have been growing steadily since then, and have been building mostly just features that our users ask. So if you are a user and you want a new feature or a change in something, just let us know. We are very open to doing that and to create more value for podcasters. And we have all sorts of features. I'm not going through all of them. Unlimited podcasting, Podhome AI, the standard things like analytics, of course. You can have an unlimited team, and API and Zapier, and also automation now with AI assistants like Claude. And I cannot wait to show you this later on because it's super cool. And all of that is very modern podcasting. And like you are used from us, it is not expensive. So it is just $15.99 a month, dollars or euros, or 185 per year. And you get all of it, including all of the stuff that we are talking about today. That is all included. So what are we talking about today? Automation. Did I write that? Yeah, I actually spelled it correctly. Nowadays with AI, that's almost impossible to not do. So how can you automate your podcast workflow with Podhome? Now we have several options. For instance, we have a Zapier integration. And if you're not sure what that is, I will show it in a bit, but it's basically this happens and then I can do something else. So workflow automation. You can do it, for instance, when an episode publishes in Podhome, you schedule one, it gets published. Zapier gets a message, and then you can do something like post a social media message, for instance, or do something else. But I use it for social media podcast posts, for instance, and that's very useful because Zapier then gets all of the information about the episode, including the title, the episode image, all that type of stuff, so that it actually can create automatically a social media post, which is very, very useful. Now, if you're a bit more advanced and you want to build stuff yourself, or use AI to build stuff to talk to Podhome, you can do that also with our API. That is basically a thing you can talk to create episodes, schedule episodes, see all the episodes, and do basically everything that you can also do through the Podhome website, so when you log into Podhome as well. And we'll see a great example of how you can use that very soon. And then lastly, and this is very new, we just built this, you can also use this with the MCP protocol. And this is a protocol that chatbots like Claude and also Microsoft Copilot, for instance, understand. It is a almost universal protocol. For instance, ChatGPT doesn't use it yet. Gemini can use it with a little trick there. But that will all come because all of this stuff is very, very new. What that means is that, for instance, in Claude, you can just say, hey, create an episode for me with this file and post it right now. Or, hey, what are my analytics for this show or for that show? And it will just show you. And I'll show you that too in a bit. So let me first show you a couple of things. I am not sharing my screen anymore, I think. No, see this tool, I really need to get used to it. I am clearly not a webinar pro, and that's fine. I am fine with that. So this, what you see here, is Zapier, that first thing that you saw. Now in Zapier, you automate workflows, and we have a Podhome connector that you can just use in Zapier. When you start using it, it will ask you for an API key, and that API key is in, where's Podhome? Here. You can find that in Podhome if the browser wants to work with me here. In your show settings, so this is one of the shows. We're actually live right now also in About Podcasting. If you find that in your podcast player, you can listen live to this webinar. Obviously, you cannot see it. But here in integration settings, you find an API key, and you use that with Zapier and also the API to automate your things. And if for some reason your API key gets compromised, gets stolen, gets hacked, you can also reset it, and then you get a new one. And then the old one doesn't work anymore. So you can use that to start working with this. And here you can, for instance, start this workflow when an episode publishes or when a live episode starts. And then you can do things like, for instance, create a LinkedIn post, which is really cool, and then just works automatically. And then you can have the title, which is what it finds in the episode automatically, the description, the URL as well for the image, and the URL for where people should go, the website, for instance. So this is just automated, and that's what you want, right? You don't want to spend time being on social media. So that's the Zapier integration. Just check that out. It's really easy to use. And then for a bit more advanced integration is here the Podhome Integration API. These are the technical documentation for it. And what you can see here is all the things that it can do. It can do things with episodes, like get all the episodes with all sorts of parameters to filter things on status or include the transcripts or the chapters as well. You can even get analytics. You can do things with shows, like create a new show, chapters, the same. You can manage your people that are in your episodes, so hosts and guests and things like that. And you can do things with transcripts as well. Let's see, we have a double thing here. I need to solve that. Thorsten, who will show us some bits, has been an early adopter of the API. And you might now see that there are a lot more endpoints than when you started. So we are constantly improving this thing, enhancing this thing, and making it more useful. So if you want to learn more about all of these options and how they work, hey, an upcoming webinar, oh, that's this one. Then you can go to podhome.fm, and under the features, you'll find automation. And there you can find all of the documentation for all of this stuff. It's pretty easy to use. And we are also very happy, of course, to help with that. Now, that was my boring slides and stuff like that. Let's see if I can stop sharing here. So let's see this in action, right? Let's actually see what you can do with the API. So Thorsten, if I can give the mic to you or the screen, and maybe you can introduce yourself and show us what you've built with it.
Yeah. Hi. Hi, all together. So thank you for having me. And yeah, as you already said, I was a quite early adopter from the API, and also I guess I sent you some a lot of helpful feedback in the last year to improve and all the stuff like that that are currently possible with the API. And yeah, so I'm Thorsten from Germany. So I'm the host and the founder of the Notsignal Bitcoin podcast. It's a German Bitcoin only podcast, as it's very popular also on Podhome. There are a lot of Bitcoin podcasts are hosted there. So I think it's mostly because of the great podcasting 2.0 integration that we also got in Podhome, and also for the point that we are able to receive donations and all the stuff like that about the Lightning Network, a second layer for Bitcoin. I think most of you, or a couple of you, are also familiar with that. And yeah, we are a team of 5 or 6 people, and we started the podcast in 2021. So more or less we are in the 5th year. And we are a decentralized team. So we are not sitting together side by side. So we are recording our episodes on remote. And also we got some processes and all the post-production and all the stuff like that need to be done after an episode is recorded. And most of the time in the past, I did the stuff for myself, and some private changes need to do to make these processes for the post-production more needful or useful, that also the other colleagues or the other hosts from the podcast can do that stuff. And my idea was, okay, how it is, or how we can build something that automatize our processes that we are doing after the recording. And I also find last year the potential of vibe coding, and the thing go a little bit crazy. That I built more or less a podcast manager for our whole podcast to do all the stuff that I can show you in a quick demo. So let me share my screen.
Very cool. And we'll get to all the comments as well that are showing up in the comments.
Yeah, of course.
In a bit.
So
let me add you here. And here you go.
Perfect. So mostly okay, first let's first. The first thing that was implemented was the idea from a community member to do something that we called release boosting. And release boosting is something like that episode drops mostly in the night from Friday to Saturday. And some of the people say, hey, I want to hear the episode, I don't know, Friday in the morning or something like that. Is it possible to send you some donations with Satoshis from Bitcoin and to hear this episode earlier? Okay, interesting idea. And in the first time, or the first month, we did that mostly manually. That, okay, we received, 5,000 sats. That's mostly, a couple of euros. And then we release this episode some hours earlier. And in the beginning, and we implement something like that also that was useful, or we need something to do this automatically. That was the idea to write Barry, hey Barry, is it possible to implement something like an API or something like that to do that automatically, to reschedule an episode? And this rescheduling of an episode to move it a couple of hours or minutes earlier was mostly, I think there were one of the first endpoints that the Podhome integration API delivers. And that was mostly the beginning, that this process or this automation to implement this release boosting was part of this project. And besides that, all the stuff related also to podcasting 2.0 was created here. So what you see here is the web application that I built that we call our podcast manager. You got here a couple of options. First, you can implement a show or import a show. A show is, in our case, a podcast, of course, an RSS feed or something like that. You can add a wallet. Here, in this case, is a Lightning wallet, also, as I said, for Bitcoin. And you can combine these information that you are receiving information, got these podcast information, and compared with podcasting 2.0, you got information, okay, how many donations you receive per episode. And this system combines mostly both together, that we got these podcast information and also the donation information. And additionally, there's also an option to do here some LLM connections. So we are able to implement here the Open API. Anyway, I will show you. I think it's much better. So, and here you are able to manage your podcast in this character or include it inside this application. For my example, I create a new show or I use a show that I created 2 years or 3 years ago. I think it was 2024. So what you need to do here is implement an RSS feed. In this case, is it a Podhome feed that is hosted on Podhome itself. And if you click here, mostly all of the stuff that are included inside the RSS feed, the title and all the description and all the stuff they get is extracted out of the RSS feed and auto-filled here. And what Barry showed before in this integration tab, that you get this API key. To do it here much easier, you can integrate or include here also this API key. And if you save this show, then mostly you can see, okay, he extracts the title here, you got the podcast picture and all the stuff like that. So that's the first step. And but a show is not very interesting. More interesting are the episodes. So the episodes are also another information that you're getting from the Podhome API. And what you can do here is that you can say, okay, sync all episodes. So in this case, the system go and fetch the episodes from the API. And now is what you can see here, that here are 10 episodes. You can see the publish date. As I said, it was the 2024 where the episodes released, so it's 2 years ago. You can see also the statistics. Here are the downloads. You can see here the information. Okay, it's already uploaded and published in Podhome. Here's also an integration with YouTube. Maybe I can go later, or you can ask me later for some other informations here. But you got also the YouTube integration that you are able to automatically create an YouTube episode out of a podcast. So it's with a it's not a dynamic video. It's just a cover in this case, but you get the audio in this video, but you are able to upload it to YouTube. You got here the transcripts. That is also very useful, that you for later to create, for example, a social media post or something like that. Because if you know the information about the podcast, the episode, and also the transcript, so what is really inside this episode, then you create much better information about, okay, create a social media post where the highlights of this episode is mentioned and something like that. And that is what we are already doing here. That you are able to implement here something like LLM prompts. In this case, you can define a connection to LLM connection. For example, open API, or maybe, I don't know if you know it, pay-per-queue or pay-per-question. In this case, you can also implement here and create your own prompts. For example, I did that in our system for our real podcast, because, as I said, this is only a demo here, where it's defined, okay, create me a social media post and with these topics and focus on blah, 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 and all the stuff like that. So you can write a post or write a prompt that do exactly the same what you did all the time. Let's go back to the dashboard. Right now, here you got these podcasts is implemented right now. So you see 11 episodes with one additional trailer, and you see the complete downloads. But I guess it's only interesting if you combine, as I said, the podcast with, for example, the information that you are receiving some donations. So that's the reason why you can add here some wallets. So it's the same logic as we did add a show here before. We can add a new wallet. And here mostly it's, I don't know, it's also a Bitcoin thing. Nostr Wallet Connect is also just the one string that you can connect one wallet, and it's automatically fill all the other stuff. Maybe I'll show you. I prepare something here. It's also filled automatically. You can add a description. The rest is already filled. You can save it. And then you can get here a wallet. And then you can fetch invoices. That is also that you are receiving the balance of the wallet and also the information that are all the different invoices that are getting. An invoice, as I said, is an invoice. It's something that is used in the Lightning Network to send some value to a podcaster, for example, with podcasting 2.0. And here right now, you see the balance of the wallets that are included, and you see here the invoices that are received here, and you also see the boost. But in this case, the wallet is not assigned to this podcast because, as I said, the podcast is 2 years old, and the wallet that I used here to demo something is related to something else. But at least you got here right now the information related to the wallet. And if you're seeing, I don't know, for example, you got here right now the additional overview that you see, also the finance tab. You got here daily breakdown. If you receive a couple of invoices during the month, you got here some pipes that see the income and the expenses, of course, and all. Maybe if you're releasing some episode is also shown here, and all the stuff like that. I'm not sure. Okay. No, the wallet is not assigned here. But in the case, if the wallet is assigned to this podcast and getting the same RSS information, then you can see here, okay, this episode get, I don't know, 21,000 sats as donations, for example. So you can build here some ranking. As you can see here, the rank that I implemented here is a combined of downloads and donations. And so you can see, okay, which episode was very successful, and maybe where was some more attraction from the listeners and all the stuff like that. Okay, so I think to keep it a little bit shorter, as I said, we can here implement something like LLM connections. I don't know if I didn't prepare anything. But what you can see here, you can implement pay-per-question. You can implement Ollama local. You can Ollama cloud, and also custom. And you can implement this information, and then you are able to implement on these connections some prompts, as I say, to build your predefined automation, whatever you want. And it's very funny because you can write here a prompt or something like that. And the good point is the different here, you get general. So you can, in my case, the first implementation here was just to implement, took these chapter marks that I received in our case from Riverside FM, where we record our podcast, and format it in this format that is Podhome is able to understand this format. That was our first prompt that I implemented here, and we execute it every week. And what's also interesting is that you are able, if you change here this database context for this prompt to episode, you got some placeholders. So, and with these placeholders, you can write a prompt and include here, for example, the downloads. You can implement very helpful this transcript text, that you get the complete transcript in the context for this prompt, and combined with a good LLM that is able to understand this stuff, you can create very, very great automatic AI social media posts, whatever you want. And these placeholders are useful, as I said, and yeah. So currently here it's implemented because it's a Bitcoin podcast. We all mostly use I work with Nostr and also with Telegram. So we are able to push these LLM executions, or the results of this execution can push them automatically to Nostr and also so Telegram. Here are in the submodules are these boosting monitor. That was what I described initially. That these release boosting that is also implemented here. That is that you are able to monitor because it's implemented as additional Linux servers that are working in parallel to these web servers here. I guess that's mostly what I want to show you. We got here some other information. Here are the transcripts. So for example, we got here the full transcript, and you can do here a full text search. That is also the information that are stored inside Podhome. Got here is information about assigned people to these podcast episodes. Very funny that is Barry here, because I did 2 years ago, I did an interview with Barry, and I think it was my first contact with them. So that's mostly what we did, what I implemented here. Mostly all the stuff related to podcasts is based on the Podhome integration API, because it delivers on a very clean way the information that we need, and combine them with LLM, combine them with our, let's say, finance information to do our process here, make it much easier to publish and promote our podcasts.
Wow. So you made this whole layer yourself just to make it easier to work with your team and do what you very specifically need to do.
Yeah.
Monitoring, and then also integration with social media and an LLM.
Yeah, exactly. I think maybe as you described, that you are building something with MCP with cloud, maybe I guess it will be in the future, it will be also possible to build this on standard agents or something like that. But as I said, I started with that in August last year, and at this point there was nothing available for our specific use cases, and that was the reason why I started to build it for our own, because it's our personal process from our podcast, and that was the reason why we built that is fit exactly our requirements.
Yeah. Well, that's a good use case, and perhaps now that the API can do a lot more than when you started, you might be able to do more here as well.
Yeah, I already see that in your demo, because for your information, it's important to know this application is mostly for the Podhome information read only. So we consume the information that is delivered by the API, and also and just a couple of things are write-able. So the only thing here, what you are able to send to Podhome, is that you're able to generate here a cover. In this case, it will not work because the templates are not available, I guess. Or let me check something here. Okay, so it's the wrong templates here because it's a different podcast. But in this case, these in the backend, it's they render our cover with FMMPEG and include this episode number here. And then you are able to upload it to over the API directly to Podhome, and can update the episode cover on Podhome itself. That's mostly the only thing where this application has write permissions to change things on Podhome itself. When I click here on sync episode, mostly we take the stuff from Podhome itself and just show them here.
Very cool. That is very cool. Thank you very much for showing us this.
Welcome.
All right. So this is something that you can do with the Podhome API Now, obviously, it's way more advanced than, for instance, using Zapier or anything like that. And that's okay, because there's, multiple levels and multiple use cases as well. So now let me show you something else that we've been working on, and that is over here. Do I have it? Yes. I will get to all the questions. Let me first get through the demo. So we have the API, and now we've built a little layer around the API so that we can use things like Claude, which is this. This is Claude Desktop, to talk with it. And that is just great, because I love how this stuff works. This is very easy to set up in the settings of Claude. It changes every day where it is. There's a connector, and you can just add this URL. It's all in documentation. And once you do and start talking about Podhome to Claude, it will ask you simply to log in with your account. No API key needed, just log in, like you normally do when you log into to Podhome. And then you can just start talking. So let's see if it actually works. It's a demo effect, of course. Which shows do I have in Podhome? I have noticed that Claude has become a little bit slow over the last days. But I think I read somewhere that they're adding like 1 million users per day or something crazy. So here are some of the things that I manage here in Podhome. So people can have multiple shows, right? Let me see, what are my latest stats for about podcasting, which is one of the shows. Let's see if it understands that it's actually about that show and what it needs to do here. These things are becoming really, really clever. So yes, it gets the tool, and here we go. Here are your last 30 days of stats about podcasting. That's the default. You can also ask it different questions. 71 total downloads across 70 unique listeners. Well, that's not amazing, but okay, that's totally fine. So you can do all sorts of stuff like this. Let me see, what can I do with Podhome with the integration? I'm not even sure if I asked that correctly, but let's see what it comes up with. Yeah, you can just ask about analytics and slice that as well with countries, for instance, trends. You can do all sorts of things with shows and episodes, like look for an episode, of course, create an episode, delete an episode, transcripts, chapters, basically everything that you can also do with the API, you can do here. And you can also create stuff and use Podhome AI. So for instance, if I go here to Claude Cowork, which is kind of an agentic thing that actually does stuff instead of just answers my question, I give it a folder on my computer. That's this folder. This has an audio file in it and a couple of images. Let me see. Let's see if I can create an episode just right here. Create a new episode for, let's do about podcasting with the title Test in Webinar. Let me do it like this, with this audio, and then I'll feed it the audio that is this thing, just an MP3. Let's see if we can do it. Now it should just create that thing in Podhome, and then afterwards, I should be able to tell it to go and publish that, and then you should be able to just see that in your podcast apps. Now this stuff is slow because Claude is a little bit slow. Thorsten here says all the tools that we're building are open source, so that is really cool. You can contact him for further questions. So if you want that layer that he just showed for more analytics and for doing more custom stuff and also more integration with social media, then you can also use that with the Podhome API, which is great. Thank you very much for that, for making that open source, because that looked like a lot of work that you've done there, which is good. Now, whilst we're waiting, maybe we can go through some of the other comments. So it's doing all sorts of things. It's making a to-do list, context. Oh, okay. It is kind of done. Let me see if that is actually true. So here, Podhome, this is about podcasting. This is actually a live episode that we're seeing here. My internet is sweating. There is a draft episode here, and that is this thing. Oh, it's still processing. It did not take the title, but that is probably because in my default settings here. Oh, can you even see this? No, you're seeing something else. In my default settings, I have set that every new episode should just take the title that is also in the audio file, which does that. Let me see if I can show you this. Yes. So here is the episode. He actually uploaded it, which is cool, right? We just did that with Claude just by talking to it. Now, oh, let me see. I am really not a webinar master. So I'm just messing with these windows. Right, that is much better. So now let's see, publish it. And obviously you can set things like the description and all that type of stuff and fill it out more. See, I can't even write properly, but let's see if it even understands this with all the errors in my text there. Okay.
Barry, I think you need to switch to the Cloud tab because currently you're showing the Podhome episode tab.
Thank you very much. See, that is why I need a co-presenter here. Where's this little button? Yeah. No, it's still doing that. Okay, come on, Claude. Show me yourself. Where are you? That's it. Oops, that is what I want to see. Oh, done. So I asked it, just publish it or publish it, I asked. Now let's see if it actually did that. Okay, one more published, 11th of March. This one, it just published it. So it should now, if you look in your podcast app, it should be there under About Podcasting. And I just did all of that just here. With a local file, you can also have a file that's somewhere else, like in Riverside or in Google Drive or something where you have access to, and just do it. And you can do all sorts of things like run Podhome AI, tell this thing, for instance, to create social media clips, like I did earlier for a similar episode. And it did that, did it? Yeah. So I said, hey, for my latest episode of About Podcasting, create 3 social media posts from the most memorable and integrating moments. See, it should be interesting, but it's smart enough to even see, look through my awful English. And then it did that. It got the latest episode. It figured it out by itself, which one that was. And then it created some text here, which is good. Then I said, well, actually include the actual link. And then it created some stuff that I can just copy paste here to social media. And you can also integrate social media connectors like LinkedIn, Instagram, all sorts of things in Claude Code itself, and then have this do it automatically. So this is kind of a new way to do that, just to talk to your AI to, do stuff. You don't even have to go to Podhome anymore, as we're all talking to machines all day long, which is quite incredible. So this is available right now. The instructions are on the website on how to do that. It is remarkably simple, actually, to integrate this in your existing AI tools. So that's kind of what we wanted to show today. Now, I will go through the questions and comments that there were. For instance, here Fever Pitch YouTube says integration in Make should be improved and designed as in Zapier. And Make is kind of also a workflow automation thing, just like Zapier. And indeed, we only have the official integration in Zapier, and that should also be expanded because it doesn't have a lot of functionality that the API does have. And we do not yet have an official connector in Make, and we should really make that. No pun not intended. But yes, we will definitely work on that, especially nowadays. That's way easier to make. And here, the chocolate botanist says, I hope I can fully automate scheduling within Zapier in the future, but I'm loving what I can see so far. So right now in Zapier, you can create a new episode, and you can run Podhome AI, for instance, on the episode, set a title, and obviously the audio as well, but you cannot schedule it yet. So it's very limited. So like I said, that should also be expanded upon, and we will work on that as well, on making more capabilities available in the API, and also expose those to AI, like we just saw with Claude. ChatGPT can also talk to the API. Gemini can do it to the API, not directly to the MCP point. But instructions for all of that are all on the podhome.fm website, and we're obviously very happy to help you with that as well. And let's see, here we have another one. The chocolate botanist again. So I'm still around 20 minutes behind in the video, quickly trying to catch up. When live podcasting, can the guests be seen? The German podcast is here and I cannot see him. Yeah, so when live podcasting, now this thing itself is being streamed live on YouTube and X, and that is just a thing I do with a product called Restream. So this is not the live podcast itself. Live podcasting you can do from Podhome itself, and that is with audio. And then no, you cannot see the person unless you do it with an HLS stream, and that is a video stream as well. And then you can put people in there as much as you like, if that is what you mean. If you maybe mean that in the live episodes in the podcast app, you see the people show up, so hosts and guests, yes, you can do that because it's just a normal episode like any other episode. I did not put Thorsten in there. Unfortunately, I will add him when we're done here. But yes, you can do everything that you can do with a normal episode there as well. And let's see, I think that is it for now. If there are any more questions, please just let me know. You can do it now, and obviously you can always just send us an email at support@podhome.fm, and then I might answer, or somebody else. Here is another question from Fever Pitch YouTube, I think it stands for maybe. Can Claude edit and format the show notes? Definitely, yes. You can basically edit an episode and all the properties, so you can tell it to, hey, create a description for this, and put it in the episode and format it, for instance, with bullet points. It understands that there's limited formatting allowed within the podcast app. So it can experiment with it. Let me know if and how it works for you, and if you need additional capabilities. Because obviously we're also testing this still. And if you're missing something, just let us know, and we will build/change things so that they work perfectly for most of our users. So yeah, it should be able to do that. And then finally, what I wanted to share is this. And that is, if you are not yet a customer, then you can go to podhome.fm. You start there with this code, unlimited 2026, because yes, luckily it's still 2026, and you'll get 3 months free on top of your 30-day trial to just try out Podhome, see what you think, and and just use it, create unlimited podcasts, unlimited episodes. And that's it. So thank you very much, everybody, for showing up and giving us your attention today. Next month, I don't know the date yet exactly, we will do another show, another live webinar about a different set of tools and capabilities that we have in Podhome. Thorsten, thank you very much for showing this, what you created. People can reach out to you if they also want the open source version of this, right? Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, go ahead.
Welcome. Thank you. So all information, just one hint is if you got also contact information, our website is nodesignal.space. So if they find further information about our podcast and also find some contact information for us and also the links to the GitLab repository and all the stuff like that. So feel free if you're interested. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And for everybody else, thank you very much and have a great day. Bye.